Just because you follow God, that don't mean that the storms is going to go away. You know, we are put through tests. We are put through things to build our faith, right? Because how can God know if he can trust you if you're not tested? You know, we're all going to be tested with trials and tribulations. It's what you do when you're in that moment. You know, you are to stay close to God. Lean on God, trust on God. Because he will never leave you nor forsake you, no matter what you go through. Okay? God will give you the strength to get through those things, and you will have eternal peace, right? Because God promised you peace. He said that the fruit of the Spirit is long suffering, right? So we're going to go through things. You know, suffering is not a bad thing. Suffering brings you close to God, because the more and more that you go through things, the more and more that you start to trust God. When you see God bring you through, it's like you could say it was nobody but God. So God does these things so that his glory may be seen by the world. Okay? Just like he performed all those miracles. You know, and the more and more that he performed miracles, the more and more it drew people in, right? So God didn't remove the Red Sea. He only parted it. He always make a way. And that was him making a way when he parted it so that they can come over. Like, it's nothing too hard for God. Okay? God is the creator of all. And he knows you from the beginning to the end. He knows when you lie down. He knows when you sit. He knows when you go to sleep. He know everything about you. Okay? So it say we are hard pressed on each side, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not abandoned. Struck down, but not destroyed. We think you are to know, dear brothers and sisters, about the trouble we went through in province of Asia. But we were crushed and overwhelmed beyond our ability to endure. And we thought we would never live through it. In fact, we expected to be unalive. But as the result, we start relying on ourselves and learn to rely on God who raised the dead. And that's the reason why God does what he does, you know. Count it all joy whenever you face trials and many. Because the testing of your faith produces preservation. And we're to allow it to finish so that way we'll be mature and complete, not lacking anything, right? He said, don't be surprised at the fiery fire that come to test you, as though something strange is happening, right? We're going to go through things, you know. And you see people say, if God was real, why did he allow this? Why did he allow? That's the reason why. You know, just like the blind man that was born blind. And they say, who sinned against, you know, the reason why he was born like this, you know. It's in John 9. Just like the man that was laying at the Bethesda pool for 38 years. Like, God does miracles, right? And it's amazing. You may not understand what is going on now, but later on you will. The word of God is amazing. You know, I used to cry about going through things because I didn't understand. But the closer and closer that I became, that I come to God, that I walk with him, I understand that I must go through these things in order to help somebody else. Because God comfort us so that way we help comfort others, right? If you don't go through, how is you going to have a testimony? You know, suffering brings testimonies, right? And testimony help bring others out, right? We overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by our testimony, right? Don't you hear people talk about what they done been through And then you hear somebody else say, oh, I done went through the same thing. Now, how did you come out? What happened? You know, and then that gives you an opportunity to introduce them to Jesus, right? It's amazing. It's amazing. God is amazing. Okay.